we have a wonderful opportunity to hear a message from a very inspirational speaker. This speaker is part of a lecture series that was created as a project of the National English Honor Society. So this is the third part in a three-part series of the Leyden Lecture Series, named after Mr. Leyden. So today we have the opportunity to participate and to hear the message of this wonderful lecture series in its last part this year. To do the introduction of our speaker today, I would like to invite two of the students who are officers in the National English Honor Society to come up to do our introduction. So Selena Ponio and Sarah Belton, please come forward.
I'm Sarah Belton, and I'm the Treasurer and Lecture Liaison at the National English Honor Society.
Rias Bhuiyan is a man who remained loyal to his Muslim faith even after a white supremacist held a gun to his face and pulled the trigger.
Through this intense act of hatred, Rias Bhuiyan started forgiveness, and through that started his organization, Grow Without Hate, to promote cross-cultural empathy.
Please welcome Mr. Rias Bhuiyan.
I would like to begin by sharing with you an honorable prayer. It says, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, which means, I begin in the name of Almighty God, the most compassionate and most merciful. And I will add my hope for the world. In Arabic it says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In Hebrew it is Shalom alaikum, which means peace and blessings upon all of you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rias Bhuiyan. I was born in Bangladesh, but now I'm an American citizen living in Dallas, Texas. I have been asked to speak to you today because of the remarkable thing that happened to me and the hope that I can share with you what I learned from it. And I was under the impression that I have only 15 to 20 minutes to speak, but then later on I realized it's an hour. So what I'll do, I will speak for half an hour, and I will keep the rest half an hour for Q&A, so that we can interact in a dialogue and we can learn from each other. So, I would like to begin by asking you a very unusual question. What would you do if a man hit you in the face and left you for dead? I would like all of you to think about that, because that's what happened to me. Imagine that you are minding your own business when, for no reason that you could see, a stranger raised a shotgun, aimed at your face, and pulled the trigger. How many of you think that something inside you might want to get back at the guy who did this to you? I see some hands. Very good. Well, it is natural to want to fight back, and there's no shameful in having that instinct. But sometimes instinct does not serve us as well as thought, and I'm here to talk about that. So, 10 days after 9/11 terrorist attack, I was working as a cashier at a convenience store here in Dallas, when a man burst in suddenly. He was wearing bandana, sunglasses, baseball cap, and he had a gun which he pointed at me. And I was robbed before in the same gas station. So from my proper experience, I immediately looked at the cash register and offered him the money. But he wasn't looking at it though, he was looking at me. I felt a cold air flow through my spine. And I looked at him and I said, please take the money, but do not shoot me. Instead of taking the money, he asked me, where are you from? Before I could say more than excuse me, he shot me in the face on the right side of my head with a double-barreled shotgun from 4 to 5 feet away. It was weird. I felt it first like a million bees stinging my face, and only then they heard the sound like an explosion. That was the sound. From 4 to 5 feet away, he shot me. I didn't know if I was still alive. I looked up at the floor and I saw blood was pouring like an open faucet from the right side of my head. Frantically, I placed both hands on my face as if I could keep my brains from spilling out, and I remember myself screaming, "Mom!" And I looked left and I saw the gunman was still standing and looking at me. And I thought, if I don't pretend I'm dead, he will shoot me again. I fell down on the floor, and after a few seconds, the gunman left. And I felt I was dying. And I told myself, get the phone, get out of the store, so that once I'm outside, if I fail to call 911, and if I pass out, people will see me in the parking lot. I went to the barber shop next door. 3 men inside looked at me in horror. I scrambled to escape out back. And I said, "Please help me, I'm dying. Please help me." I screamed, grabbing one of them. "Please call 911, please." When the guy made a quick call, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I couldn't believe that was my face. A few minutes earlier, I had been a smiling boy. A bright future lay in front of me the way it does in front of you now. And suddenly, in the instant it takes to pull the trigger, I was ugly and half dead. I felt I can't die yet. I haven't accomplished anything with my life yet. I kept telling myself, hang on, and I prayed. I recited from the Holy Quran all the verses I had memorized so far, and I kept telling God, please do not take me today. Instead of sitting and lying on the floor of the barber shop, I came outside and I was looking for the ambulance left and right. As soon as I saw the ambulance, I started running towards it, taking off my shirts and my shoes. Ambulance workers found me running around screaming in the parking lot. On my way to the hospital, my eyes were getting closed, my brains were shutting down, I could not see anything, I could not think of anything clearly. At the same time, images of my mother, my father, my other siblings, and my fiancé appeared before my eyes, and then a graveyard. I became very afraid. I thought, that's it, I'm dying. And that's why I'm seeing that face for the last time, and I'm seeing a graveyard, because that's my new home today. I became very, very afraid. I kept reciting in the Holy Quran, and I said, God, please do not take me. If you let me live today, I promise I will do good with my life. Around 1 p.m., I arrived at the hospital. And finally, 5 hours after I was shot, I lost consciousness. So, why am I here today? Well, it is because I did survive. Clearly, since I'm talking to you right now. And this experience allowed me to learn something that I would like to share with you. And it may sound unbelievable that I gained more from this experience than I've lost. So first, let me tell you what I've lost. I've lost a vision in one eye. Before this crime, I had better than perfect vision, 20/10. I had been a Air Force pilot back in Bangladesh before I came to USA for higher education. Now, because of this crime, I would never be able to fly. that career is gone forever. A tooth, which was thankfully replaced. A home, I was thrown out as I could no longer work and pay the rent. I lost my security. If one man wanted me dead, might there be others? I didn't dare going outside for a long time, and when I did, I kept looking over my shoulder. My father said, when my father heard what had happened to me, he suffered a stroke. Comfort. All the surgeries I had to face as a result of this shooting were very painful. I had to go through several eye surgeries, one after another one. Sometimes the doctor had to put a big needle through my right eye to save the patient. I lost my fiancée. Because of this crime, the doctor didn't allow me to fly until all the surgeries were over. My fiancée was waiting for me, and once she found out that it would be impossible for me to fly until all the surgeries are over, she decided to move on with her own life. She married somebody else, and now she's raising a family with another man. From this X-ray, this is a recent X-ray report from 2012. From this report, you can see that my face was peppered with bullet fragments, which dug themselves into my skull, and I carry more than 35 letters on my face still today. Well, I lost a great deal, but then something good happened as well. A friend took me in, so I had a place to live and food to eat. A Christian doctor performed eye surgeries before he had any assurance that he would be paid. A Muslim man from the local mosque gave me scholarship, and as a result of that education, I was able to get a good IT job, which helped me to live a good life. Another Muslim man gave me a car that helped me to go to school and go back to work. With the help of all these good people, I was eventually get my life back on track, which helped me to take a Muslim religious pilgrimage to Mecca. And that he was there, I remember my promise to God. Do you remember what I said to God? Well, I said, if you let me leave, I will do good things with my life. So far, what had I done? I had done well. But who had benefited? So far, only me. And that was why it felt as though something was missing in my life. And I prayed God for His guidance and said, God, what am I supposed to do? Why did you save my life? There must be some important reasons. Show me, guide me. And I kept thinking of the moment when I had been shot in my face, and I realized that that moment was pivotal for two persons, not just for the victim, but also for the criminal. I thought about the shooter, Mark Stroman, who had shot 3 people as a retaliation of the 9/11 terrorist attack, and the other 2 of whom had died. I thought of Mark Stroman sitting in a death row, waiting to die. Suddenly, he was not just a man who shot me in the face. He's another human being like me in pain. And I realized I could do something for him. And how ironic is that? How ironic that since the shooting took place, I, the victim, had thrived. And he, the perpetrator, had nothing to look forward to but his own execution. So with clarity from the pilgrimage, I knew what I can do for him. And I returned to the US to lobby to save the life of my attacker, Mark Stroman. With the help of Amnesty International, Reprieve is a London-based organization. A lot of local supporters from Dallas and also from all over the US. I led the campaign to save the life of my attacker I went to the European Union Parliament, German Parliament. The lethal injection manufacturer in Denmark is their headquarters, where I was able to convince them to write a letter to the governor of Texas not to use their product to kill a human being. And that's what they did. For the first time in the history, Lundbeck wrote a letter to the governor of Texas not to use their product to kill a human being. And not only that, I also went to the US Supreme Court, US Federal Court, asking for clemency for Mark Stroman. And some of you might know my fight wasn't successful. Despite all these efforts, in July 2011, Mark Stroman was executed. But before that though, he came to know a little bit about me, a man who we had tried to kill. He learned that I formed a coalition of Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and atheists to get him removed from the death row, and it stunned him. When his lawyer gave him the news that your victim is running a campaign to save your life, he reduced to tears. This is not what he expected from the Muslims. Before his death, he thanked the entire Muslim community. He condemned his own act of violence, and he called me brother. In a phone conversation, he said, "I love you, bro." And that brought tears in my eyes. 10 years back, the same person who shot me in the face for no reason, because of my skin color and because of my faith, is the same person for 10 years is calling me brother. He said, "I love you." What made him change? It's the same person. At the beginning, his heart was filled with hate, ignorance, and intolerance. 10 years after, it's the same person. But the heart has changed. It is full of peace and love. At his execution, Mark Stroman asked for Marshall to apologize for his own violence, and he called for an end to hatred. And he said, "Hate causes a lifetime of pain." Let's take a look at the video for 50 seconds what he said before his execution.
Mr. Rias, thank you for your inspiring act of compassion. You have forgiven me. You have forgiven me for you. I have a lot of respect for you. For the potentials of the sons that you know your children. The question is, if I will make it, what do I want you to carry on? And what you're doing today is to get out there and it's their state to try to get the world to rights. You know, that's the wonderful thing you're doing. And just continue with your rights. Because you are touching so many people. I've been getting so many letters and messages from all over the world that you, Mr. Rias, are inspiring them. And that right there strengthens me. Dude, just rock on. Thank you for letting me. Okay.
So that was Mark Stroman, right before his execution. He gave an interview and he sent this message to me. So here's what I learned. It seems to me that although retaliation is a natural response, it does not make you feel as good as you think it will. Any harm you inflict or hopelessly inflicted against another human being winds up hurting you. We are all cut from the same cloth. When one of us bleeds, all of us bleeds. When instead we follow the direction to, quote, do unto others as they will do unto you, we cannot wish for harm to any of us, even someone who has hurt us. It would be like wishing harm to ourselves. When I saw that Mark Stroman was a human being like me, and he hurts, because of my Islamic teachings and my upbringing, I was able to forgive him. And that took any hints of bitterness air from my heart and allowed me to be whole again and you have seen the profound effect of forgiveness on Mark's stomach. So, the man who shot me in the face and killed 2 others have been changed. He benefited from my forgiveness, and I benefited from his acknowledgement that he had been wrong, that my life did have value. Today, I'm financially comfortable. I travel all over the world, sometimes for my company. I work as IT manager at a global software company in Dallas, Texas. Sometimes I travel with the company, and sometimes I give talks like this. I received numerous peacekeeping awards, including Americans of the Year 2011. And I am the president of a foundation entitled World Without Hate. And we believe the transformational power of forgiveness. We believe that humanity and eventually nations could learn how to forgive, that the world you grow up and will raise your children could be a world in which there is less crime and less war. I ask you to check us out at www.worldwithouthate.org, and please like us on Facebook and join our effort. Thank you very much for your time. So I did my part, I spoke, now it's your part, the Q&A session, right? So don't hesitate to ask me any question. I will do my best to answer. And again, every speaking program I believe should be two-way. Otherwise, it's just me talking, you go home, you forget, right? So feel free to ask, and I know it's not easy to stand up in a crowd like this and ask a question. You have to be a brave heart. So feel free to ask me any question. Yes, please.
The families of the other 2 victims, did you happen to speak with them, and how did they react to the way you were dealing with the perpetrator?
Okay, well, thank you very much for your question. Before I went in public, first of all, I always maintain a very healthy relation with the other victims. The other 2 widows treat me as their brother. So before I planned to do anything, I talked to the widows and the other families, and I explained what I was about to do, and they also forgive the attacker. Not only that, one of the families, they came forward and they said, they never come and join me in press conference in a public place, but they will send their family members, whoever is available, to join me and show their support. So back to your point, yes, they also forgave, and at some point they also send their family members to join the campaign. Thank you. Yes, in the back. It's a very good question, thank you. She said how long it took for me to realize that I can forgive him, right? Okay, well, it's a process. You just cannot forgive someone like that. I had to go through a healing process. When I was shot, I could not believe that somebody could shoot me in the USA. I was in the Air Force, and I used all sorts of guns and military experience. And before leaving my birth country, USA was a dream country to me. That everything is good here, people are beautiful, and had no clue that one day I'll be shot in this country. So when I was shot, it destroyed my life. If you put a cookie in your hand and smash it, my life was like that. It was completely destroyed. And I couldn't figure out what has happened. Instead of being angry, instead of being pissed off, I took time and I try to process what has happened to me. How can I get into a normal life? So my childhood teachings, what my parents taught me, really helped me. As a child, my parents taught me, whenever you are hard, the first thing you do, keep your mouth shut. Do not say a single word. Because once you're angry, once you're hard, the first thing you do, you open your mouth and you try to say something bad to another person, and that's how it starts first. Any word you name, it starts with a verbal word, and then it goes to physical, and then so on and so on. So in my case, I took time. I tried to realize what had happened to me. How can I get back to a normal life? And I went through a healing process. And through the process, I grew mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. And at some point, I realized that if I'd like to move on with my life, I have to get rid of this anger, this hard feelings in my heart. I have to get rid of that. So I was able to forgive. It took a little time, but not right away. But I had to go through a healing process first. And during that time, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't show any kind of attitude or any kind of angry. I took time, and it helped me to forgive me at some point. And also the pilgrimage helped me in this case. Went up to Mecca and I spent a month in Mecca, and I prayed, and I said, God, you took 2 hours. You could have taken my life. But definitely there are some important reasons why you gave me a chance to live. So help me, guide me so that I can do what you want me to do in this life. So all this really helped me to come to this idea that forgive, not only forgive, also save his life, make a difference in this world. Thank you very much for the question. Yes, please. There is the place of terrorism in Islam. Let's put this in first. And I will give you little details. People ask me what kind of Muslim you are. Good Muslim, bad Muslim, moderate, metropolitan, these and that. I said there is no such thing. If you call yourself Muslim, it's only one kind. Because Muslim means, is Arabic word, it means believer. It means you believe in God. If you believe in God, you follow His direction, you follow His rules and regulations. So if you follow God's rules and regulations, you cannot go and kill people. You cannot go and do this kind of violence act. So, back to the point that, if you call yourself Muslim, then you practice God's law, and there is no place for terrorism or violence. There's a lot of propaganda we hear outside in the media and everywhere that Islam preaches violence, terrorism, but actually that's not the right. If anybody reads the Quran, the actual meaning, if they understand. Yes, there's a place, in many places in the Quran it says to engage yourself in a fight, but only if you're attacked first. If you're attacked because you're afraid, or if you're attacked when you're just in self-defense, you can engage yourself in a fight, but in no way you can start a fight in the name of religion, in the name of anything. And also it says very clearly that once you engage yourself in the combat, you have to be very careful. You do not fight against women, children, elderly people. You do not destroy any crops, any trees. You fight only against the person who is fighting with you. So once the instruction is so clear, if somebody does not follow that, it's his problem. It's not the problem with the religion. It's not the problem with the entire Muslim community. It's that individual person who failed to follow that path. Again, if I give another example, if you call yourself either a vegetarian, and if I see you coming out of a steakhouse, if that you do not understand, or how should you live your life, you call yourself vegetarian, you should not go to steakhouse and enjoy a New York Street or some revive, right? Same thing if you call yourself, if you're a follower of Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King, and next day you're found in a bar fight. Well, is the problem of Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King? It's you who failed to follow the path at the same time you're claiming you are a non-violent person. So I hope I could give you the answer. Thank you. Yes, please. Well, there is no particular prayer. I will give you an example in threefold. First of all, when I was shot, I was running around. I didn't know which prayer is more powerful than the other one, so I kept reciting whatever I had memorized. Because in Islam we try to memorize as much as we can, because that's what we recite in our prayer. We do not look at anything; we just recite from our memory. So as a child, I memorized a lot of verses, and at the time I didn't know which one was more powerful than the other one, so I kept reciting whatever I knew. During my pilgrimage, when I was touching the Holy Kaaba, the God's house, I kept asking that it was meant to be that one day I will be here, and and I will not die, from this gunshot, when I was shot. So everything was meant to be, and you saved my life. I'm here today, and there's a reason behind why you brought me here, why you saved my life, and I need your guidance. I need your help. And I said, once I go back to my normal life, give me three things. Give me mental strength, give me physical strength, and give me financial strength. So that whatever you want me to accomplish in this life, I can accomplish. For example, if I had billions of dollars, but I don't have the mindset to help people. There are a lot of rich people in this world. They don't care for the poor, for the needy, for the deprived. There are a lot of poor people. They have the biggest heart in the world, but they don't have any money or the heart to do something. Not the heart, the money and the physical strength to go and do something. So I kept asking every time I prayed to God, guide me, help me, and give me the strength so that I can do something for others. Because I feel when I see poor people on the street, when I see somebody is suffering from pain and suffering, when I see a needy person, I can tell what is going on in their life. Because at some point, I was homeless, I had no money in my pocket, and at some point, I realized that I would feel like to go to that kind of life. So back to your point, I didn't make any special prayer, but I kept asking and reciting the word of God, and I said, guidance, and I said, give me strength, so that I can do something for others. I have that good answer. Thank you very much. Yes, the back.
Did you ever have anyone tell you that you were crazy for forgiving him? And if so, how did you convince them of your point?
It's a very good question. Yes. At the beginning of the campaign, I received some hate emails from people that I was crazy and lost my mind. Even some Muslims. I don't know if they're Muslims or not, but the email says, my name is Muhammad so-and-so. You could be anyone behind the keyboard. You could be a dog here. So it says, my name is Muhammad so-and-so and we're crazy. I'm forgiving this guy. And Quran says blah, 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 blah. So I responded, with respect to the person. I said, no, Quran did not say that. Quran said, in this kind of situation, you have three options. Once your heart, if somebody harm you, you can do three things. First of all, justice, you can ask for justice. Second thing, you can ask for financial compensation for your sufferings, for your loss, for your pain. And the other thing you can do, you can forgive. So Quran did not taught me to go and kill, mark, stone, and kill. I had options. So I explained and I get the quote from the Quran, which verses it says. I gave him. I gave a very respectful reply, and he didn't respond back. There are other instances people also say that I must have lost my mind. I said, if I lost my mind by doing something good, I'm okay with that. Because I was not only one man. There were university professors, there were lawyers, there were a lot of religious scholars. They were in my coalition. It was not one ministry, it was a teamwork. So if you call all the people are crazy, then it's time to think again, who's crazy? You or all these thousands of people. But I didn't open it them. I always give a respectful answer so that they understand. Because when people are disrespectful to you, by arguing with them, by disrespecting them again, you'll never win. You can win showing respect, even though he's trying to fight with you, he's trying to put you down. But if you show respect and engage them in a dialogue, respectful dialogue, very well possible. At least you may not win the argument, but at least you can come to an understanding and live in peace. So that's what I do. Instead of telling them that you are crazy, except here's the explanation. And how do you understand? Thank you. That was a good question, though. Yes, please. Well, thank you. That's another good question. Well, we, like in the end of my speech, I said that we believe in the transformational power of forgiveness. And that's what we do. We try to preach forgiveness and compassion, and at the same time, we educate people about the consequences and dangers of hate crimes. We may not be able to completely stop hate crime all over the world, but at least we can educate people by teaching them the consequences and the dangers. And that may help a lot of people not to harm, not to make any crime. So that is our goal: preach forgiveness and educate people about the consequences of and dangers of hate crimes. And we are a non-profit 501c3 non-profit organization. And right now we are based in Dallas, but we work with people in Italy, in England, and also all over the USA. Thank you for the question. Yes, please. Another very good question. Well, I was taught in my childhood that everything in our life is a test. And it also it says in the Quran, chapter 20, verse 26, I believe, it says that, everything we go through in our life is a test. We need have patience. That I can quote exactly the verses, but the meaning is that everything we do, everything we go through in our life is a test, one after another one. And we have to have patience. I do not blame my fiancée, believe me, because she was under pressure, tremendous amount of pressure from her parents to move on. And before leaving my birth country, her parents wanted her to marry somebody else. Not because I was a bad guy, but they wanted her to, marry somebody else. I don't know what was the reason in her mom's mind, but she was under constant pressure to marry somebody else. So when I was shot, it was a good cause. My parents kept saying, look at this guy, he got shot and he's a star. Who knows when he's going to come back? So she kept waiting and waiting, and I was going through one after another surgeries. First I said, okay, I didn't tell one thing in my speech, which was I was kicked up in the hospital the next day. Hospital did not let me, kept me for a month or 2 months. I was there only for 2 days because I had no insurance. The owner didn't have any kind of workers' compensation. So I thought, yes, I'm good to go. I'm going back to my birth country, to my fiancée. I'm going to marry her. I'm going to my mom and dad. Life is wonderful. But then I realized that I had to go through a lot of treatment. I had no money in my pocket, and I didn't tell my parents what I was going through because it would be causing more pain for them. So I kept everything in hiding. And I was going through one after another one. And at some point, when I could not support myself anymore, I was completely out of money and support. I contacted the Red Cross, and guess what? After talking to them almost 2 months, they said, yes, we can help you. You are eligible only for 1 week's worth of groceries. And I said, seriously? That Red Cross, you are raising millions of dollars, which was a wonderful thing you guys did for the 9/11 victims, and it was the best thing they could do. And you could only provide me 1 week's worth of groceries. I didn't come to USA to beg food. I came from a rich family from Bangladesh, and it's not the part. It's about the support, the amount of support. Only 1 week's worth of groceries. I cried and cried that day, and I said, from that I promise I will never seek help for human beings. If they come to me, fine, but I will not do voluntarily. I will ask only God to help me. So back to your point. So the first surgery was in October. I was shot on September 21st. First one was in October 4th, and it was not a success. And I had to go for another surgery in December. And I told my fiance, I'm coming in February, because doctor said I'll be fine. Again, there was the retina got detached, problem arised. I had to go for another surgery. So I kept changing my day. So at some point, my fiance became frustrated. She thought, I'm in very bad situation. I cannot go back home. So at some point, she gave up and she moved on. And I totally understand, what she went through from her parents and waiting. And I thought, whatever God does is always good for us. That is my number one belief, because He loves us. He cannot do bad things to us. We may not understand for the time being what we go through, but in the long run, once we look back, we will feel that it was good, because we already reached that level of understanding. So when my fiance left, I couldn't accept that at the moment. I didn't go crazy. I was hospitalized. I went back home and I talked to her. She said it's too late, and I moved on. And I couldn't take that pain anymore. I passed out a couple of times in my home and hospitalized. I lost 40 pounds of my weight. I gave up almost my life. I said, what's the point of living anymore? I didn't commit suicide, but I was so depressed. And one day I realized that by seeing my mom crying every single day, hugging me, holding me back, what is happening? You left the Air Force, you went to USA for a better life, and now you're back, miserable, depressed, and you gave up. I cannot see you in this life anymore. And she cried. We mom and son were hugging and crying every single day. And I said, for me, everybody's crying in the family. I cannot let it happen anymore. So I told myself, I have to stop. I have to get back to normal life. So the best way to move on again, same thing, to stop thinking about her. Think that it was good for me and for her. So with that understanding, I forgave her and I moved on. And I moved to the Rias Bhuiyan. And now I realize that it was good that maybe she's better of me. And she married somebody else because of the family. Wonderful. So thank you for that question. It made me a little emotional, but thank you. Okay.
Today in America, in the Muslim community, is there much fear of hate crime like victims?
Could you please talk a little loud right here? Sorry about that.
Today in America, in the Muslim community, is there much fear of being victims of hate crime? Today in America, is there much fear in the Muslim community?
Thank you for repeating again and again. And sorry for short here. Apologize for that. Yes, there is a fear. There is a fear. Even though things is changing, things has improved, but still there is a fear. Like, look at the shooting day before yesterday at Kansas. A man walked into a Jewish center and shot and killed three people, right? Well, two people and injured three people. And there's a lot of ignorance and hatred outside. And the ignorance comes from fear. I mean, look at Mark's story. He wanted to kill Arabs. And what he did, he killed a man from Pakistan, a man from India, who was a Hindu, not a good Muslim, and a man from Bangladesh. We are 1,000 miles away from the Middle East. Yes, our skin color may be a little same, but we are not Middle Eastern. So that means what? There was ignorance. He didn't know who to go after. And also he said in his many statements that we wanted to go after people, but we didn't know to go after whom. So we thought brown skin, Middle Eastern descent, must be a Muslim. So go and shoot all the brown skin. If they look like Mexicans, they're Middle Eastern. That was his knowledge, his knowledge of Middle Eastern. So there's no offense to anyone, please. I'm just saying that was his understanding. So there's a lot of ignorance in our society, and because of that ignorance, we see sometimes kind of hatred like the one we saw yesterday. In the Muslim community, yes, there are some fears. Not in every place, yes. If you go, for example, Orange County in California, once in a while you hear there's a lot of backlash, a lot of hatred going on there. I remember one time, the Muslims in Orange County, California, they're raising fund for a women's shelter. They did not say it's a women's shelter only for the Muslim women. It's a women's shelter for any distressed women. But the local people, they came and they said, we know what you do, you beat your wife, you do this and that. Well, it was not only for the Muslims. It was a women's shelter for everyone. The people came in the street, and then the local state congressman, she also joined with them and said a lot of bad things. So what I feel, still there's a hatred, there's a violence, and people in the Muslim fear of being attacked again because of people outside. Because of their ignorance and because of understanding. It doesn't matter how much you hate me as a Muslim. I'm in this country. I'm living next door. You will see me on the street. So instead of hating me, why don't you learn about me? Why don't you understand the other culture? Because America is such a beautiful country in the world, so diverse. You name any country in the world, you find there are people from that country in the U.S. You name any restaurant, you will find you have that restaurant, that country, that food in the U.S. But go to China, go to maybe my birth country, Bangladesh, you will not see that diverse. So that's the beautiful thing about in this country that we are so diverse. So what I would say that this fear is there because of ignorance, and we can overcome it by understanding each other, by talking to each other. So what I would say, if you see a kid in your classroom who's different from you, in terms of maybe skin color, maybe in terms of faith, instead of ignoring that person, just say hello to that person, give a smile. That will overcome a lot of anger, sometimes a lot of uneasiness, and that will help build a healthy environment in the classroom, in your neighborhood, in your working place. Thank you for the question. A little bit out of time. So if anyone have any more questions, please visit our website, worldwithouthatehate.org. If you'd like to share your comments, your thoughts, any feedback, please do so. And thank you very much for your time.